This is how we get a 450-pound tarp up on top of this large building using the forklift. To make it reach higher, we had to stack up these pallets and put a platform, and the aqueduct tarp went up on top of here. Then we simply raised it higher than the roof to there, and then tilted it forward. So, okay, and then unrolled the aqueduct up the roof. Go ahead. Now we already had pre-positioned ropes around it, rolled around it, so when it unrolls, that way we lost. Okay, here we are. The roll's up on top. We're going to cut the ropes that bind the outside protective wrap. We're going to unroll it into position, so when it unrolls, it'll unroll the right direction.
So if we want, when this folds over, we want that edge on the inside of it. There we go. This whole thing still has to be drug back.
We're positioning the roll. The roll is about 450 pounds. And it's folded down the middle and should unfold half on one side of the crown, half on the other side of the crown. And now it's unrolled. And we drug the whole thing a foot this direction. Now we're going to unfold it. And now we're going to remove the wrap, protective wrap. We have a mark where the center is, which is right there. 39 feet one direction, 39 feet the opposite direction. Okay. And then we're going to line out along here and unfold the aqueduct. The whole thing. There's one fold. Two folds. And there will be an additional fold. So we had to fold a little bit back because we couldn't walk over the edge of the roof here. It's too steep. And this tarp's designed to flop over and the water tube being approximately 3 feet below the edge of the of this roof line. Now the whole thing can be adjusted. We're going to go to the other side and unfold it. You're the only one that shows up in white.
It's going to cost you.
We're going to adjust this material so it ends up right here next to where we have to cut around this vent. And then the aqueduct will lay along this edge. There's 2 plies to this material. We're seeing the waterproof side. There. Now we're going to cut a hole for the vent. This is not mechanically operated. It is easily to stop. So we're going to go over and then adjust the Hurricane Tarp. We need to adjust the entire tarp this direction at least a foot. Now we've repositioned it. This person here needed to tweak it, the whole thing 1 or 2 inches, and he can move all this tarp out here himself. And now we've got it lined up with what we think is as square as we're going to get it, and to make it look pretty, being square doesn't matter, but to make it look pretty. So now we're going to start adding water to the tube. Outside tube, after we cut the hole for that air vent. Now we're going to put a cross over the top of the fitting that we need to go over the top of. With a razor knife we simply cut the material no more greater than to actually fit over the dam. Now we make a and we make it fit as snugly as possible. Later we'll be coming back with some duct tape, some patch tape, and we leave these little tabs up so we can duct tape it right to the fitting, not duct tape, excuse me, patch tape. This tarp is approximately 90 feet by 60 feet. We have a tube that's going to be nice and small, running down the middle so that wind rushing over the top will not pick it up. So here's the 2 tubes that would be filled with water. They're running the wrong direction. We're taking out the one seam by pulling as a chain stitch and removing in this direction so it goes with the angle of the roof. This way, water running down from this direction would hit here, then have to run off or build up and go over the top. Even though it's only 3 inches high, it should be running not this way, but this way, with the curvature of the eave, or the direction of the eave. Okay, we've run a hose from over the edge there, 100-foot long hose. Comes to right here. We've added another hose, and this is the end of the hose. Turn the water on. Let the water shoot out of that hose first. Okay, there's the water. Shove the water down the tube. Past center line of the eave of this roof, which is here, the hose has to be in to at least, well, it's down into there. So that's plenty far enough. Now, what it's going to do is run down along the edge there and hang over the edge of this tarp, and we have to hold the tarp in place until we get water on both sides. So now this water is going to this side. We'll fill them for a couple minutes. Then we're going to go to these tubes that go this way and fill for a couple minutes and then go back and forth. We don't want to get, the water has to counterbalance each other. So we can't just fill up one side. It'd be too heavy and would pull the tarp off because there's nothing holding the tarp down. And there won't be except water, the weight of water. This is a multi-height building, and this is just one part of a much larger roof line. Now the water has come to the corner, and you can see it pulling the material over to lay downhill. If I hold the camera real close, the water is right here. You can see where it's pulling the material over. There's two tubes, and now we're going to turn this side off and go to the other side. And then we're going to average out the water pressure. So we're back up over here to the, we're going to pull that out, the water out of that one tube. Now we're going to put water in the other side to counteract the weight of the water hanging over the edge of the roof. So the hose has been pushed in, it's right to here. It's officially over the crown of the roof. That's good enough. Now water's going this way, and that will counteract the water hanging off the roof of the other side. Leave your hand there, Seth, and you can see the water build up here behind Seth's hand. Right here is water, and it's all going to run right down here to this corner. There it is. Now water's running down along this tube, and there's two tubes inside. This is a previous tarp that was put in for the owner of this building. I'll come back and show you more of that. Now we're working on this section. And we've got the water running, so it's just a matter of time. We anticipate about 1 hour, and this will be completely filled with, from the start of installation to completely filled with water, and approximately 1 hour. Now we've got one tube of water all the way down along this edge, and we're going to let it build till water comes out, which is coming out now, and we're going to put water in the other tube. I'm here by myself, so I have to turn the camera off. And now the water is running down this tube that we've already put water in, but the opposite side. That tube was full or was kinked on the corner, which will eventually open up with a little massaging. And we're adding weight to this side here. Now the weight's evenly distributed throughout. So it's a very little bit of weight in one particular given inch or square foot of the roof. There's very little weight. Well, in fact, out here there's just ounces per square foot. There's not even 1 pound of weight. The weight comes from these two tubes, and what happens here is that when the wind blows, it can't blow underneath that tube, and then so it can't blow the rest of the tarp up and off. Great idea. Do this to damaged roofs and protect the valuables inside, which are certainly far exceed the cost of this tarp. Hurricane Aquadam Combo Tarp. Water. Using water wisely. Now this tube too is full of water, so I have to change the hose, pull it out. Now I'm going to choose one of the tubes next to it here. So there's 2 tubes of water in each side. But I don't want to get my camera wet, so it basically goes right into there. You can hold up the end. Now water's going inside. I have to shove the green hose in using both hands. But there's what we're going to do by filling both sides up. Okay, this is the last one that we need to fill. We've got it nice and high. We've burped all the air out of the fill tubes. Here's the opposite direction. You simply tie the bags into a knot. This tube is full. Pull the hose out, lift up the black tube, give it a second and the water will go down. Now try it into a knot. Just drop that water out, yep. Put 2 in for extra measure. And here's the end result. Now we're going to go over to the middle with the hose and this little tube, and we're going to roll out down the middle of this big roof. Action. Starting at the roof crown, we're simply going to unroll this little aquadam to hold down the center part of this roof. we're going to pull on it to adjust so the end of it goes right to the very side there. So we've actually got this tube about 5 feet too long. But that's okay. I'm going to put water in this tube. And it's going to run down this direction.
I don't know what happened there. I wonder if we should pull that one tube out.
So we pulled one side out. Now we're going to put the hose in the other side.
I don't think there's no room in the shower.
Okay, now we are going to tie off the ends of the tube. Let out the water, some water. The end has to be long enough. There's one tube. There's two tubes. And another one for extra measure. Now this tube here is full, and it's just weight for when the wind's blowing. No suction can get underneath this big tarp. We're not sure that this is needed, but it's just extra precaution. They're simple, easy to install, and part of the tube is over here, goes all the way down to the end of the slope, and now we're in this one here. And for some reason the water doesn't want to go down this tube. I've got no idea why that's.
Try the other tube.
Well, there's filling right there. You can see water down there.
Okay.
That was working, whatever tube you got it in. So, here we are putting water in this section here, and then we'll be done. No mess. Took four individuals. Now we got to go around the outside here and scoot these over. You want drop action. So grab the tube down here, drop the other end so all the water comes out, and now you have a piece of tube that you can tie. So here you go. Now we're going over to the edges and pulling out the edge as we go along, and getting all the slack of the aquadam out to the edge. Yep. Okay. One way of doing this is to simply kick it over with the toe of your foot. Okay. This pulls so there's no wrinkles on the aquadam. We do it to both sides. Okay, or you can just pick the whole thing up and pull on it, and pull the slack out of it, is what you're trying to do.
Get this knot out, maybe, Nate.
Now it's time to do this bonnet. How are we going to get a water seal around this bonnet? We're going to use this 1 foot wide patch tape. First we prepare the surface here. We want these little things to be up like that. And it's a good tight fit around the bonnet. We've cut our patch tape, and now we're going to cut it off a piece. Okay. This is how it will look when we're done. But it's got a cellophane backing to it so it doesn't stick until we're ready for it to stick. Now we're going to peel off the cellophane backing to the tape. An inch or two's got to be on the black material. Get this other shit out of your way. Now we have this air duct breather fan taped off. There we are now. This bonnet's been taped and it's ready for the rain. This is only part of the top of a much huger building. The estimate of doing the roofs of these buildings are in excess of $1 million. This tarp was sold for $2,000 and should give them many years of life protecting this portion of this much larger roof. This small portion of a much larger roof. The trouble is that the roof's been patched so many times, no additional weight is allowed on top. They just simply can't put more tar up here. To put more tar up here means putting more tons of weight up here on something that structurally is pretty lacking. As you can see, it's just a massive, not very steeply angled roof. This section's been up for over 6 months, rained on many a time, and we just did this section here, which was 90 feet by 50 feet. And it took us approximately 1 hour after the unit got up on top of the roof to deploy and fill with water. This area is twice as large, and it was done, as I said earlier, in the year. But looks fine. Doesn't need any water added, but we check it every month to make sure that the tubes have water in them and have not lost water, or it's still sufficient amount of water and no concern. If it needs water, we got to bring a garden hose up and put water in it. Now, this aqua dam, because it doesn't go over the crown of the roof, has a actual aqua dam to hold it in place. 2 tubes side by side, which is these 2 tubes here. There's 2 tubes side by side in here to make an aqua dam so the whole thing doesn't slide down the roof, which is angled. And of course smaller tubes on the side just so air can't get underneath of the tarp. Bigger tubes is actually holding this whole tarp on the roof so it doesn't slide down it. Water runs downhill, not in the case of an aqua dam. Good job. This is even a better job.